Welcome, brave souls, to the dark and twisted world of Silent Hill. If you think you've seen everything this infamous horror franchise has to offer, think again. The Silent Hill comics took things to a whole new level, introducing us to terrifying, grotesque monsters that crawled right out of our worst nightmares and onto the page. These creatures aren't just scary, they're packed with layers of psychological symbolism, each more disturbing than the last. Today, we're breaking down the most grotesque monsters from the Silent Hill comics, their designs, symbolism, and the horrifying stories they tell. Get ready to meet creatures that'll haunt your dreams and challenge your understanding of fear itself. And hey, don't forget to let us know in the comments which of these monsters creeps you out the most. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. Now, this is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Pyramid Head. Arguably the most iconic monster in the Silent Hill universe, Pyramid Head makes a striking appearance in Silent Hill: The Grinning Man. This monstrous figure is as unsettling as they come, with his towering frame draped in a blood-stained butcher's smock. But what really makes him stand out is that massive, rusted triangular helmet completely obscures his face, leaving you wondering what horrors lie beneath. His weapon of choice? A gigantic greatsword that he drags behind him, creating an ominous scraping sound that sends chills down the spine of anyone unfortunate enough to hear it. Pyramid Head's symbolism is tied to punishment and guilt, much like his representation in the games. He serves as a manifestation of repressed guilt. His presence forces characters to confront their darkest sins. Whether he's delivering brutal executions or simply lurking in the shadows, his silent, stoic demeanor is what makes him particularly horrifying. He doesn't speak, doesn't show emotion, he just methodically pursues his prey with an unrelenting desire to punish. What makes Pyramid Head even more terrifying is the psychological weight he carries. It's not just a monster, he's the embodiment of internal suffering, shame, and regret, which makes his presence resonate on a much deeper level. Interestingly, his design was inspired by historical executioners, further tying him to the theme of punishment. There's no escaping Pyramid Head. He'll find you, and when he does, he'll make sure you pay for your sins. Nurse. The Silent Hill Among the Damned comic introduces the fan-favorite monster, the Nurse, in all its grotesque glory. Clad in torn, dirty nurse uniforms with faces eerily wrapped in bandages, these creatures are far from the caring medical professionals their outfits might suggest. The nurses are twisted, their bodies unnaturally contorted and twitchy, often moving jerky, unpredictable movements that make them even more terrifying. With knives or steel pipes in hand, they're ready to lunge at anyone who gets too close, creating an atmosphere of palpable tension and fear. In Among the Damned, the nurse symbolizes both physical and mental illness, reflecting the deep trauma of the characters trapped in Silent Hill. They are a reminder of the fragility of the human mind and body, warped into something sinister by the nightmarish reality of the town. The nurse's role in the story adds another layer of horror, especially as they appear in settings like hospitals, traditionally places of healing, now corrupted into horrifying dens of suffering. What makes the nurses particularly stand out is their representation of suppressed sexual anxieties and fears of care gone wrong. Their faceless nature removes any humanity, turning them into blank slates for the fears of the protagonists. And let's be honest, there's something about the way they twitch, ready to attack, gives even the bravest Silent Hill fans the creeps. The nurses are an undeniable staple of Silent Hill lore, and their presence only adds to their legacy as some of the most unsettling monsters in the series. Twin Victim. In Silent Hill: Dying Inside, we meet the unsettling Twin Victim, a creature that takes the concept of psychological horror and cranks it up several notches. Imagine two infant-like heads share a single monstrous body. That's Twin Victim for you. Its heads, which eerily resemble sleeping infants, dangle from a shared torso, while their elongated arms drag the rest of the creature's body as it moves. There's something profoundly disturbing about its appearance, and the grotesque, unnatural fusion of two beings into one amplifies its eerie vibe. The Twin Victim represents unresolved guilt and the idea of being haunted by past traumas. The symbolism behind this creature ties deeply into the story's themes, often appearing when characters are grappling with past sins or their darkest sides. The two heads, always looking as if they're in a peaceful slumber, contrast sharply with the violent and erratic movements of the creature, creating a nightmarish contradiction. What makes Twin Victim so unique is how it blurs the line between innocence and monstrosity. The creature's childlike features are unsettling because they're attached to a grotesque, malformed body that's anything but innocent. This clash of visuals plays on the viewer's psyche, making the monster even more terrifying. Twin Victim's presence in Dying Inside also adds to Silent Hill's legacy of monsters that represent deeper psychological issues, and it's one of the most memorable thanks to its unsettling design and haunting symbolism. Valtiel, the enigmatic and nightmarish creature from Silent Hill painted black, is perhaps one of the more unsettling monsters in the franchise, not because of overt violence, but due to the sheer creepiness of his presence. Valtiel's appearance is unnerving. His skin seems almost mummified, tight and leathery, with a head that constantly tilts from side to side in a hypnotic, disturbing manner. Clad in what looks like ceremonial garb, his faceless visage makes him even more mysterious and terrifying. Valtiel's role, much like in the games, is shrouded in mystery. He appears as a sort of guide or overseer, particularly when transitioning between realities or realms. His symbolism is tied to rebirth and ritual, serving as a sort of attendant to Silent Hill godlike entities. In Painted Black, Valtiel's connection to the town's darker, occult aspects comes to the forefront as he performs ritualistic actions that further the story's themes of transcendence and transformation. What makes Valtiel particularly chilling is how his actions seem deliberate yet emotionless. He's not here to engage or terrorize the characters directly. He's more like an indifferent force of nature, silently conducting the town's twisted will. His presence looms over everything, suggesting that something far more sinister is at play, and his involvement always signals that things are about to get worse. Valtiel's eerie silence and detached demeanor make him one of the more unique and frightening entities in the Silent Hill universe. Doll. In Silent Hill Hunger, we're introduced to the grotesque doll. Monster plays heavily on the concept of corrupted innocence. This creature looks like a large, life-size doll, complete with cracked porcelain skin and lifeless glass eyes. However, appearance quickly shifts from innocent to horrifying. You realize it moves with unnaturally stiff and jerky motions, as if being manipulated by an unseen force. Dolls are unsettling on their own. Come to life in Silent Hill, they take on a whole new level of terror. The doll in Hunger represents the loss of innocence and the destruction of purity. It embodies the fears associated with growing up, trauma, darker sides of childhood memories that have been warped into something monstrous. As it moves closer to its victims, the doll's porcelain exterior begins to crack, revealing grotesque, rotting flesh underneath. It's this transformation that makes it stand out. What was once a symbol of innocence is now a vessel for horror. Many of us associate dolls with childhood and safety. This creature twists that notion, making you question the very things you once found comforting. Its movements are stiff and unnatural, almost as if it's being controlled by a malevolent force, adding to its eerie presence. Silent Hill's ability to turn everyday objects into manifestations of fear is showcased brilliantly with the doll, making it one of the standout monsters. Lying Figure. The Lying Figure is one of the more grotesque and disturbing monsters in Silent Hill lore, and its appearance in Silent Hill Hunger solidifies its place as one of the most unsettling creatures in the franchise. This humanoid monster looks like it's been wrapped in a straitjacket of its own flesh, its head forced back and its mouth permanently sealed shut. The Lying Figure crawls and writhes on the ground, emitting horrifying, pained noises that add to its nightmarish presence. In the comic, the Lying Figure represents the suppression of emotions, particularly the feeling of being trapped or silenced. It's a manifestation of the character's inability to express themselves or escape from their internal torment. The suffocating design of the creature, with its bound body and restricted movements, adds to this symbolism, making it a walking metaphor for emotional paralysis. What makes the Lying Figure so terrifying is how it embodies both physical and psychological pain. Its grotesque appearance, combined with the sound it makes, creates a visceral reaction of discomfort and fear. And when it attacks, it spews acidic vomit from its chest, adding a gruesome, violent element to its already disturbing presence. The Lying Figure is a reminder of Silent Hill's ability to create monsters that are not just visually terrifying, but also rich in symbolic meaning, making it a memorable part of Silent Hill Hunger. Slurper. The Slurper makes its creepy debut in Silent Hill, Dying Inside, and it's a creature that fully embraces the weirdness and terror that Silent Hill is known for. This monster crawls on all fours like a sickly animal, with its distorted face hidden behind a mask of scraps and tubes, giving it a mechanical yet grotesque appearance. What makes the Slurper especially disturbing is the way it moves. It slithers and scurries with an almost insect-like precision, making your skin crawl just watching it. Its hands, equipped with claws, allow it to drag itself across the ground in pursuit of its prey, adding to the sense of dread it evokes. The Slurper's symbolism in Dying Inside is rooted in the idea of suppression and dependence. It represents the overwhelming feeling of being trapped by addiction or desire, constantly lurking in the shadows and waiting to drag its victims down into despair. The creature's low-to-the-ground posture reflects submission, as if it's both a predator and a slave to its own impulses. This ties into the comic's darker themes, where characters are often at war with their inner demons and psychological struggles. struggles. What makes the Slurper stand out among the other grotesque monsters of Silent Hill is its unsettling combination of organic and mechanical elements. It looks like it's been pieced together from nightmares, and its ability to slither quickly and attack in packs makes it even more terrifying. Plus that distorted, slurping noise it makes. That's enough to give anyone nightmares. The Slurper is a uniquely terrifying addition to the Silent Hill roster, representing both the physical and psychological aspects of terror in Dying Inside. Closer. The Closer is a towering behemoth that looms large in Silent Hill hunger, and its grotesque appearance is sure to leave a lasting impression on anyone who encounters it. Standing at an imposing height, this monster's most striking feature is its massive club-like arms that it uses to crush anything in its path. Its face, or rather, the lack of one, is hidden behind a featureless mask, and its torso is covered in fleshy, distorted growths that seem to pulse and squirm, giving it an almost living, breathing quality. The Closer represents the crushing weight of oppression, the overwhelming nature of guilt, trauma. Its sheer size and the way it lumbers toward its victims create an inescapable sense of doom, as if you can't outrun or escape from whatever emotional baggage it symbolizes. The Closer's attacks are brutal and deliberate, using its oversized arms to smash through obstacles and people alike, adding to its terrifying presence. What makes the Closer particularly unique in the Silent Hill universe is its overwhelming sense of dread. It's not just a physical threat, it's a looming, unstoppable force that embodies the darker emotions characters are trying to avoid. Its facelessness adds to the psychological horror, turning it into a blank canvas onto which characters project their fears. The Closer's relentless pursuit and monstrous strength make it one of the more physically intimidating creatures, and its design ensures that it'll linger in your mind long after you've finished reading. Tormented Soul. Silent Hill, the grinning man introduces us to the Tormented Soul, a creature that perfectly encapsulates the twisted nature of the town's inhabitants. The Tormented Soul is a wretched, ghostly figure that seems to be in a constant state of agony, its face twisted in perpetual pain. Its gaunt skeletal body is draped in tattered rags, and it moves with a slow, shambling gait as if every step is a struggle. This monster's appearance is enough to make your skin crawl, but it's the psychological horror it represents that makes it truly terrifying. The Tormented Soul symbolizes the lingering guilt and suffering of those trapped in Silent Hill. It's a physical manifestation of the pain and torment that the town's victims carry with them, often reflecting unresolved trauma or deep-seated regrets. The monster's twisted, anguished expressions serve as a constant reminder that there's no escape from one's inner demons in Silent Hill. What sets the Tormented Soul apart from other monsters is the way it interacts with the characters. Rather than being an active threat, it's more of a passive embodiment of suffering, always present but rarely attacking. Its presence is more psychological, feeding on the fear and despair of those around it. The Tormented Soul is a haunting reminder that Silent Hill's true horror lies not in physical violence, but in the emotional and psychological scars it leaves behind. Bogeyman. The Bogeyman is a creature that perfectly embodies the primal fear of the unknown, and its appearance in Silent Hill Past Life cements its place as one of the most unsettling monsters in the series. This hulking figure wears a tattered executioner's hood and carries a massive axe, which it uses to enact brutal, merciless justice on its victims. Much like Pyramid Head, the Bogeyman serves as a representation of guilt and retribution, but with an added layer of mystery and folklore that makes it even more terrifying. In Past Life, the Bogeyman appears as a manifestation of the character's darkest fears and regrets, stalking them throughout the story. Its role as a judge and executioner ties into the comic's themes of punishment and redemption, but what makes the Bogeyman especially horrifying is its inescapability. Once it sets its sights on you, there's no running, no hiding. It'll find you, and it'll make you pay for your sins. What makes the Bogeyman unique in the Silent Hill universe is the way it taps into universal childhood fears. The idea of a Bogeyman is something most people grow up with, a nameless, faceless creature that hides in the dark and comes for you when you're least expected. Silent Hill takes that concept and turns it into something tangible, giving it form and substance. The Bogeyman is not just a symbol of guilt, it's the physical embodiment of all the fears that lurk in the shadows, waiting to strike. Air Screamer. The Air Screamer from Silent Hill Dying Inside is one of the franchise's more eerie and unsettling airborne creatures. These monsters resemble grotesque mutated birds with leathery wings and a humanoid face that's as disturbing as it is strange. Their rapid, jerky movements and terrifying shrieks make them a nightmare to encounter. You can't help but feel vulnerable as they swoop down from above with deadly precision, slashing at the victims with razor-sharp talons. The Air Screamer embodies a sense of helplessness and vulnerability. It plays into the fear of being being attacked by something unseen or unexpected, a perfect metaphor for characters who are blindsided by their own emotional turmoil or guilt. The creature's appearance is almost predatory, circling its prey before diving in for the kill, much like how unresolved trauma can linger before overwhelming someone all at once. What makes the Air Screamer particularly chilling is its speed and unpredictability. It's one of the few Silent Hill monsters that doesn't give you much time to react. Once you hear its telltale scream, it's often too late. The Air Screamer also stands out because it's a more animalistic creature compared to the humanoid figures that dominate much of Silent Hill's monstrous cast. This primal predatory nature makes it a formidable enemy, and its airborne attacks add an extra layer of horror to the Silent Hill universe. Weeping Bat, Silent Hill Hunger. The Weeping Bat, introduced in Silent Hill Hunger, is a creature that brings a whole new level of terror to the nightmarish landscape of Silent Hill. With its grotesque bat-like wings and humanoid body, this monster is an unsettling fusion of man and beast. Its face is particularly disturbing. While it has the recognizable features of a bat, there's something almost human in its eyes, which constantly weep tears of blood. Its unsettling screeches can be heard long before it comes into view, adding a sense of dread to its presence. In Hunger, the Weeping Bat represents fear of the unknown and the uncontrollable forces that can suddenly upend one's life. Creatures, blind attacks, and erratic flight patterns mirror the chaos that the characters in Silent Hill often face. It's a symbol of unpredictability and fear that comes from facing threats you can't fully understand or anticipate. What makes the Weeping Bat particularly terrifying is its relentless aggression. Once it locks onto a target, it swoops down with deadly intent, using its claws and teeth to tear apart anything in its path. The fact that it cries blood adds a disturbing layer of emotion to its design, making it seem as though it's in eternal agony. This juxtaposition of aggression and suffering makes the Weeping Bat stand out among Silent Hill's many monsters, and its unique design ensures it remains a memorable addition to the series. Scraper. The Scraper, first seen in Silent Hill Dying Inside, is a truly unsettling creation, embodying the town's theme of bodily mutilation and distortion. This humanoid creature is hunched over, its limbs disproportionately long and ending in jagged blade-like appendages. These blade-like arms are what give it its name, as it uses them to attack its victims in brutal, frenzied scrapes that leave a trail of destruction in its wake. The Scraper's face is twisted, with features that seem stretched and distorted, making it almost impossible to determine its original form. The Scraper represents self-inflicted pain, the idea of mutilation as a way to cope with inner turmoil. Its disfigured body serves as a grim reminder of the lengths to which some characters go to escape their mental anguish. In Dying Inside, the Scraper stalks its victims relentlessly, embodying the constant struggle pain characters are unable to escape. Its very existence is a manifestation of the physical and emotional torment that Silent Hill inflicts on those who enter its realm. What makes the Scraper particularly terrifying is its erratic movements and violent nature. It's not a slow-moving, looming presence like some other monsters. It's fast, aggressive, completely unpredictable. The jagged scraping sound it makes when dragging its arms across the ground is enough to make anyone's hair stand on end. The Scraper is a haunting reminder that Silent Hill is not just a place of emotional suffering, but also one of brutal physical violence. Screamer. The aptly named Screamer makes its terrifying debut in Silent Hill Hunger, and true to its name, this creature's piercing, high-pitched wails are enough to send chills down your spine. Resembling a humanoid figure with exaggerated long limbs and a mouth that stretches far wider than it should, the Screamer is a visual and auditory nightmare. Its twisted, sinewy body moves with jerky, unnatural motions, and its shrieks echo through the darkened halls of Silent Hill, signaling that it's near, ready to strike. In Hunger, the Screamer represents unchecked rage and emotional outbursts. Its endless screaming reflects the inner turmoil of characters who are unable to control their emotions, a creature embodying the chaos that ensues when those emotions spiral out of control. The Screamer's design, with its exaggerated mouth and vocal capabilities, also symbolizes the overwhelming nature of fear and how it can consume and control individuals. What makes the Screamer especially terrifying is how its attacks are paired with its chilling screams. As it lunges at its victims, the volume of its shrieks increase, making it an overwhelming assault on both the senses and the psyche. The Screamer is not just a visual horror, it's an auditory one, too. Its cries are designed to unnerve and destabilize its prey before it goes in for the kill. This creature's ability to combine psychological horror with its physical threat makes it a standout monster in Silent Hill Hunger. Canine Monster, Silent Hill Among the Damned. The Canine Monster in Silent Hill Among the Damned is a grotesque, warped version of a once familiar animal. With its skeletal body, exposed muscle tissue, and snarling, drooling maw, this creature is a far cry from your average dog. Its eyes glow with a sinister red hue, and its movements are unnervingly quick and jerky, like a predator that's been starved and driven mad. The canine monster relentlessly chases down its prey, biting, tearing into anything in its path with a ferocity that makes it one of the more violent monsters in the Silent Hill universe. Symbolically, the canine monster represents the fear of loyalty betrayed and the primal instincts that can turn something familiar into something terrifying. In Among the Damned, this monster embodies the fear of being hunted by something that was once trusted or beloved. It also ties into the themes of abandonment and betrayal that often permeate Silent Hill's lore. What makes the canine monster particularly terrifying is its speed and savage aggression. Unlike some of the slower, more methodical monsters in Silent Hill, this creature is fast, vicious, and unforgiving. Its relentless pursuit makes it a creature of pure, raw fear, as there's no reasoning with it. Once it catches your scent, it's coming for you. The canine monster taps into primal fears, reminding us that even things we once considered familiar or safe can become twisted into something horrifying in Silent Hill. Pendulum, Silent Hill, Painted Black. The Pendulum is a truly unsettling creature introduced in Silent Hill, Painted Black. This monstrosity is a bizarre fusion of humanoid and mechanical elements, with its body suspended between two massive bladed appendages that resemble pendulums. The creature's torso is twisted and deformed, its head permanently fixed in a contorted position, as if it's in a constant state of agony. The pendulum-like blades swing back and forth, creating a hypnotic yet terrifying rhythm as it moves through the air, ready to slice through anything in its path. In Painted Black, the pendulum serves as a symbol of time and inevitability. Its constant swinging motion reflects the inescapable passage of time, the haunting realization that no matter how hard one tries, some things like guilt and trauma can't be avoided. The pendulum's mechanical nature also ties into the comic's exploration of dehumanization, as it strips away any semblance of humanity, leaving behind only a cold, calculating machine of destruction. What makes the pendulum particularly terrifying is its relentless pursuit and precision. Once it starts swinging those massive blades, there's little chance of escape, and the rhythmic, almost clockwork-like movement has a sense of impending doom. The pendulum embodies Silent Hill's ability to take something as abstract as time and turn it into a physical, murderous threat. Its design is unique among Silent Hill's many grotesque creatures, combining both organic and mechanical horror, create a truly memorable enemy. Prisoner Minion, Silent Hill Dying Inside. Prisoner Minion from Silent Hill Dying Inside is one of the more unsettling humanoid monsters in the Silent Hill comics. These creatures are shackled, bound by chains that limit their movements, and their faces are obscured by crude makeshift masks that add to their eerie, dehumanized appearance. The shackles clank with every step they take, adding to the oppressive atmosphere as they shuffle toward their victims. Their skin is scarred and bruised, suggesting they've been tortured or imprisoned for some unspeakable crime, and they wield jagged weapons that only enhance their fearsome appearance. Symbolically, Prisoner Minion represents the feeling of being trapped, whether by guilt, regret, or societal expectations. These creatures embody the torment of those who feel imprisoned by their past mistakes, with their shackled form serving as a physical manifestation of their inability to break free from their psychological chains. The Prisoner Minions are often depicted in the comics as serving a higher, more malevolent force, further emphasizing their role as both victims and perpetrators in Silent Hill's twisted hierarchy. What makes the Prisoner Minion especially horrifying is its relentless nature. Despite being bound by chains, it never stops moving forward, slowly but surely closing in on its target. The sound of its chains dragging across the ground only adds to the tension, signaling that no matter how far you run, the weight of your guilt will eventually catch up to you. The Prisoner Minion is a grim reminder that in Silent Hill, no one escapes their past unscathed. Ceiling Monster, Silent Hill, the Grinning Man. The ceiling monster in Silent Hill, the Grinning Man, is exactly what nightmares are made of. As its name suggests, this creature clings to ceilings and walls, moving with unnatural speed and agility to hunt its prey from above. Its elongated spider-like limbs and grotesque twisted torso make it a truly disturbing sight. The ceiling monster's face is a twisted mockery of humanity, with bulging eyes and a gaping maw filled with sharp teeth ready to sink into its next victim. Its ability to move silently and strike without warning makes it one of the more terrifying monsters in Silent Hill's expansive bestiary. Symbolically, the ceiling monster represents the fear of being watched or hunted by something that's always just out of sight. It plays into the primal fear of predators lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to attack. In The Grinning Man, the ceiling monster is a physical manifestation of paranoia, feeling of being constantly pursued by something unseen yet ever present. What makes the ceiling monster particularly horrifying is its ability to defy gravity, crawling across ceilings and walls with an unsettling speed that makes it nearly impossible to outrun. The fact that it attacks from above adds to its terror, as it forces characters and readers to constantly look up, never feeling safe in any space. The ceiling monster's grotesque design and unique method of attack make it a standout in The Grinning Man, and its presence is sure to leave a lasting impression on anyone who encounters it. Awinita, Silent Hill, Past Life. Awinita from Silent Hill Past Life is a creature that draws upon Native American folklore and mythology to create a uniquely terrifying presence in the Silent Hill universe. Awinita is not your typical Silent Hill monster. It's a spirit-like entity, a shapeshifter that can take on the form of animals or even other humans. This ability to shift its form makes it an unpredictable and dangerous enemy, as it can hide in plain sight before revealing its true nature. Awinita's true form, however, is a grotesque combination of animal and human features, with distorted limbs and a face that seems to be in a constant state of transformation. In Past Life, Awinita represents the themes of revenge and the cyclical nature of violence. As a vengeful spirit, it embodies the idea that past wrongs can never truly be forgotten and will eventually come back to haunt those responsible. Awinita's ability to shift between forms also ties into the comic's exploration of identity and the loss of self, as the creature manipulates both its victims and its environment to achieve its goals. What makes Awinita stand out is the way it blends folklore with Silent Hill's signature psychological horror. The creature's shape-shifting abilities make it particularly dangerous, as it can appear harmless or even familiar before striking without warning. This unpredictability, combined with its eerie, ever-changing appearance, makes Awinita one of the more unique and memorable monsters in Silent Hill Past Life. Its ties to Native American mythology add an extra layer of depth to the story, making Awinita a creature steeped in both history and horror. Bladed Monster, Silent Hill, The Grinning Man. The bladed monster in Silent Hill, The Grinning Man is a terrifying example of franchise's penchant for combining grotesque body horror with lethal efficiency. This hulking creature is covered in sharp, jagged blades that jut out from every part of its body, making it as dangerous to approach as it is to escape. Its twisted form is reminiscent of a human that's been mutilated and reshaped into a walking weapon. Its face is obscured by a crude mask, with only its glowing, menacing eyes visible through the slits. In The Grinning Man, the bladed monster symbolizes self-destruction, the idea of being consumed by one's own inner turmoil. The blades that cover its body represent the sharp, cutting thoughts of guilt and regret, constantly injuring the creature and anyone who comes near it. This monster embodies the destructive cycle of self-harm, both physical and emotional. Many characters in Silent Hill struggle with. What makes the bladed monster particularly horrifying is its sheer brutality. Its every movement is accompanied by the sound of metal scraping against metal, a constant reminder of its lethal nature. When it attacks, it does so with ruthless precision, using its blade-covered limbs to slice through its victims. The bladed monster's grotesque design, combined with its aggressive behavior, makes it a standout in The Grinning Man. It's not just a visual horror, it's a representation of the dangers that come from letting inner demons run unchecked. Multi-headed monster, Silent Hill Hunger. The multi-headed monster in Silent Hill Hunger is a creature that takes grotesque horror to new levels. As its name suggests, this abomination has multiple heads protruding from its body, each one twisted into a different expression of agony and rage. The heads are connected by sinewy tendrils of flesh, and the creature's body is a mass of writhing limbs and malformed torsos. It moves in an erratic, jerky manner, as if it's constantly battling with itself, with the heads often arguing or screaming incoherently at each other. In Hunger, the multi-headed monster represents the fractured psyche and the idea of being torn apart by collecting thoughts and emotions. Each head symbolizes a different aspect of the creature's or its victim's personality, constantly at odds with one another. This internal conflict is a major theme, where characters are often struggling with their own inner demons and are unable to reconcile the different parts of themselves. What makes the multi-headed monster so unique, the sheer chaos it brings to the table. Its multiple heads, with their own distinct personality, create a sense of unpredictability and madness. You never know which head is in control or what it's going to do next. This constant internal struggle makes the multi-headed monster one of the more psychologically disturbing creatures in Silent Hill, as it embodies the terrifying idea of losing control over one's own mind. Its grotesque design and erratic behavior make it a memorable and terrifying addition to Hunger. Samael, Silent Hill, Painted Black. Samael, introduced in Silent Hill, Painted Black, is one of the most menacing and powerful entities in the Silent Hill universe. Often referred to as a godlike figure, Samael's presence looms over the events in Silent Hill, acting as a force of pure evil and chaos. Unlike many of the grotesque, physically terrifying monsters in Silent Hill, Samael's horror comes from its immense power and influence rather than from its appearance. It manifests as a dark, shadowy figure, often depicted with horns or wings, evoking the classic imagery of demons or fallen angels. In Painted Black, Samael serves as the ultimate embodiment of darkness and despair, representing the evil that lurks not only in Silent Hill, but within the hearts of its inhabitants. This monstrous deity manipulates events behind the scenes, pulling the strings to bring about misery and suffering. Samael's role as a malevolent god speaks to the larger themes of control and submission found throughout Silent Hill, where individuals are often powerless in the face of overwhelming forces beyond their understanding. What makes Samael particularly terrifying is the sheer scope of its influence. It's not just a physical threat. It's an omnipresent force that controls the town and the nightmares that plague its inhabitants. Its godlike status makes it untouchable, and the fear it inspires isn't just about immediate danger, realization that there are powers at work far greater than any individual can comprehend. Samael is a representation of the ultimate inescapable evil. Being can't be fought or reasoned with, only endured. Sniffer Dog, Silent Hill, The Grinning Man. The Sniffer Dog, featured in Silent Hill, The Grinning Man, is a twisted parody of man's best friend. This grotesque creature has the form of a dog, but with a nightmarish twist. Its skin is stretched tight over its bones, giving it a skeletal, emaciated appearance. Its face is contorted into a permanent snarl. The Sniffer Dog's most terrifying feature is its nose, grotesquely oversized and hypersensitive, allowing it to track its prey with terrifying precision. Its behavior is more animalistic than most Silent Hill monsters, relentlessly hunting down its victims like a bloodhound on a mission. In The Grinning Man, the Sniffer Dog represents primal instincts gone awry. It embodies the fear of being hunted and the idea that once something picks up your scent, there's no escape. The creature's relentless pursuit mirrors the psychological torment experienced by characters in Silent Hill as they're hunted by their own inner demons. The Sniffer Dog's grotesque appearance adds to its horror. There's something inherently unsettling about seeing a familiar domesticated animal twisted into a nightmarish predator. What makes the Sniffer Dog particularly terrifying is its speed and tenacity. Once it picks up a scent, it won't stop until it catches its prey. Its exaggerated sense of smell makes it an almost unstoppable force, constantly nipping at the heels of its victims, leaving them no room to breathe. The Sniffer Dog taps into the primal fear of being chased by something faster and stronger, making it one of the more animalistic yet horrifying creatures in the Silent Hill comics. Insane Cancer, Silent Hill, Dying Inside. The Insane Cancer, appearing in Silent Hill, Dying Inside, one of the most grotesque and disturbing monsters in Silent Hill lore. This massive, bloated creature resembles a decaying human body, with its skin stretched taut over its swollen frame. Its face is sunken and gaunt, hollow eyes and a mouth that hangs open in a permanent agonized scream. Its movements are slow and lumbering, but don't let that fool you. Its sheer size and strength make it an enemy capable of crushing anything in its path. The Insane Cancer symbolizes physical and mental decay. In Dying Inside, it represents the fear of illness and the loss of control over one's own body. Its grotesque, decaying form is a reflection of the character's inner turmoil. Grapple with the fear of being consumed by their own suffering. The Insane Cancer's bloated body also suggests the idea of festering guilt or trauma that's been left unchecked, growing until it becomes an all-consuming force. What makes the Insane Cancer particularly horrifying is its ability to absorb damage. It can withstand a significant amount of punishment, making it a relentless, seemingly indestructible force. Its sheer presence is overwhelming, not just because of its size, but because of what it represents: the inevitability of decay, inescapability of one's own mortality. The Insane Cancer is a monstrous reminder that, in Silent Hill, the greatest horrors are often the ones that come from within. Wheelman, Silent Hill, The Grinning Man. The Wheelman is a bizarre and terrifying creation that first appears in Silent Hill, The Grinning Man. This creature is a grotesque fusion of man and machine, with its lower half replaced by a massive rusted wheel that it uses to roll through the streets of Silent Hill. Its upper body is emaciated, long gangly arms that it uses to grab its victims as it speeds past them. The Wheelman's face is hidden behind a crude metal mask, with its glowing eyes visible through the slits, adding to its eerie inhuman appearance. In The Grinning Man, the Wheelman represents the idea of being trapped in an endless cycle of torment. Its wheel-like body symbolizes the never-ending loop of guilt and regret that many of Silent Hill's characters find themselves in, unable to break free from their past. The Wheelman's constant movement also reflects the theme of relentless pursuit, as it never stops, but rolling toward its next victim with terrifying speed. What makes the Wheelman particularly horrifying is its speed and unpredictability. Its ability to move quickly and strike without warning makes it an unforgettable enemy, and its combination of mechanical and organic elements adds an extra layer of terror. The sound of its rusted wheels screeching against the ground is enough to send shivers down anyone's spine, signaling that the Wheelman is near. Its grotesque design and relentless nature make it one of the most unique and terrifying creatures in The Grinning Man. Leonard B. Trent, Silent Hill, Dying Inside. Leonard B. Trent, appearing in Silent Hill, Dying Inside, is one of the more human-like but equally terrifying monsters in the Silent Hill universe. Leonard was once a human, but over time he became a twisted, monstrous figure both in appearance and mentality. His body is disfigured and warped, with his limbs elongated and his face a ghastly mask of rage and despair. Unlike some of the more animalistic creatures in Silent Hill, Leonard retains a sense of intelligence, which makes him all the more dangerous. His movements are deliberate and calculated, as he uses his knowledge of the town's dark secrets to manipulate others. Leonard represents the fear of losing one's humanity and becoming a monster, both physically and emotional. In Dying Inside, he's a tragic figure. Once a victim of Silent Hill's horrors, but now transformed into one of its many nightmares. His descent into madness and monstrosity reflects the larger themes of corruption and transformation that run throughout the series. What makes Leonard particularly terrifying is his ability to manipulate others, both physically and psychologically. He uses his knowledge of Silent Hill's dark power to twist the minds of those he encounters, making him a villain not just in terms of strength, but in terms of mental warfare. His disfigured, monstrous form is a reminder that in Silent Hill, even those who once had control can become victims of the town's nightmarish influence. Leonard's tragic backstory and terrifying presence make him one of the more complex and chilling monsters in Dying Inside. Jessica Aldrich, Silent Hill Past Life. Jessica Aldrich, introduced in Silent Hill Past Life, is a different kind of monster, one that was once fully human but has been transformed by the town's dark power. Jessica was a regular person, a victim of Silent Hill's corrupting influence, but as the story progresses, becomes something far more sinister. The transformation is gradual, with her once human features becoming increasingly distorted and grotesque. Her skin pales, her eyes sink into her skull, and movements become slow and deliberate, as if weighed down by the horrors she's experienced. Jessica represents the fear of becoming something you once feared. In Past Life, her transformation into a monstrous figure is symbolic of the way Silent Hill consumes those who enter its borders, warping their minds and bodies until they're unrecognizable. Her tragic fall from grace mirrors the experiences of many other characters in Silent Hill, but the line between victim and monster is often blurred. What makes Jessica Aldrich particularly terrifying is the fact that she was once an innocent person, just readers or viewers. Her slow transformation into a monster is a chilling reminder that in Silent Hill, no one is safe from the town's corrupting influence. Jessica's story adds a layer of tragedy to her character, making her one of the more complex and emotionally resonant monsters in Silent Hill Past Life. Her gradual descent into monstrosity serves as a warning that in Silent Hill, anyone can become a monster. Lauryn's thralls. Silent Hill Past Life. Lauryn's thralls, introduced in Silent Hill Past Life, are among the most disturbing creatures in the Silent Hill mythos. These mindless, enslaved beings were once ordinary people, but have been corrupted and transformed into horrifying extensions of Lauryn's will. Their skin is grey and decaying, with their eyes vacant, as though they no longer possess any sense of self. Their limbs are twisted and elongated, making their movements jerky and unnatural, as if they're puppets being controlled by an unseen hand. In Past Life, Lauryn's thralls represent the loss of autonomy and the fear of being manipulated or controlled by someone else's desires. These creatures serve Lauryn without question, symbolizing how individuals in Silent Hill can lose their free will and become mere tools of the town's dark forces. The thralls are a chilling reflection of the psychological manipulation and control that characters often experience, unable to escape the grip of more powerful forces at work. What makes Lauryn's thralls particularly terrifying is their complete lack of individuality. They're not just monsters, they are husks, shells of people who have been stripped of their humanity. The idea that someone could be reduced to this state with no hope of regaining their former self is a nightmare in itself. Their jerky, puppet-like movements further enhance their eerie presence, and the fact that they're completely subservient to Lauryn makes them a disturbing reminder of how easily control can be lost in Silent Hill. The thralls' haunting design and symbolic weight make them one of the standout horrors in Silent Hill Past Life. Marvelous verdict: Silent Hill's monsters are far more than mere nightmares. They are manifestations of our darkest fears, regrets, and twisted desires. Each grotesque creature from the comics only builds to the Silent Hill mythos, making the town a reflection of the most unsettling parts of the human psyche. Whether it's the executioner, pyramid head, corrupted nurses, or the haunting doll, these monsters remind us that true horror lies within. Thanks for joining us on this chilling journey. Remember, the fog always has room for more lost souls. Stay spooky, folks. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Yeah? Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.